Hello, and welcome to this tutorial on the basics of resume writing by the Gaston College Writing Center. A strong basic resume is essential in the current job market. Remember, your resume is a reflection of you and the image you present to potential employers. Your job is to convince a potential employer to invite you for an interview. As we go through this tutorial, keep your desired job in mind and take notes to maximize productivity. To get started, begin brainstorming the content of your resume. Consider your education, work experience, and skills of most importance to the specific job for which you are applying. You can write these ideas on a scratch sheet of paper to collect your thoughts before you begin writing and formatting your resume. Then, determine the most effective way to present these details. Before delving into writing and formatting your resume, consider the length you need. A one-page resume is standard and necessary, especially if you plan to attend job fairs. This works best for folks who have less than 10 years of work experience. If you have more than 10 years of work experience, a two-page resume may be necessary. This is great for demonstrating expansive knowledge and skill sets, as well as showing significant experience in a specialized field. Should you feel a second page is necessary, do not feel obligated to fill the entire second page of your resume. Leaving space can make the longer resume seem more inviting and less overwhelming. When organizing the information on your resume, the basic layout is as follows. Create a uniform heading complete with your first and last name and contact information. Following the heading, begin with your education and credentials, which can include awards and accolades. Your licensures and certifications should follow your education and other credentials. Now, you need to list your professional experience and use a bulleted list with each position to describe the unique skills you brought to that position. As a student or recent graduate, and especially if you do not have work experience in your desired field, you may now consider listing affiliations with organizations or academic activities that may demonstrate your unpaid experience within that field. Finally, if you have room and feel that it would enhance your prospects of getting an interview, list your volunteer experience when it is relevant to the position you are applying for. A professional heading can unify your resume packet. The following is an example of a professional resume heading. You should include your name in a larger font. The next item in your heading should be your address. Then list a reliable phone number and a professional email address. If you have one, feel free to include your LinkedIn URL. Now that you know what goes into a header, let us discuss some general formatting themes. Be sure to balance your sections. Do this by maintaining consistent formatting between and within sections, as well as ensuring that sections cover reasonable space for the covered content. Margins should provide ample white space, with a minimum of a half-inch margin to avoid a cluttered look. Single-space the content within each section. This looks cleaner. It also enables you to fit more content than if you were to double-space your entire resume. Double-space between the sections to help readers recognize shifts in topic and content. Use bullets to signal new skills within sections and to emphasize individual items like a job responsibility or an accomplishment. Consistency and readability are essential to your resume. Make sure to be consistent with content and spacing so that the reader can focus on what you have to offer their organization. Now, let's move on to fonts and design. Use no more than 2 font styles for the entire resume. Using more than 2 font styles can overwhelm the resume. Choose fonts to set apart different levels of information. For example, try serif fonts, or fonts with a slight projection finishing off a stroke of a letter in certain typefaces, such as Book Antigua, Times New Roman, or Century, for the descriptive content below your headings. And use sans serif fonts like Arial, Calibri, or Franklin Gothic to establish headings. Font sizes should be used to differentiate headings from body text. 10 to 13 point font is good for text because it is concise yet legible, while 12 to 20 point fonts are good for headings. However, save the largest font, 16 point or higher, for your name because you want the employer to remember you. Let us go over a few tips and tricks to fill out the content of your resume. As a college student, you should include your anticipated college degree and graduation date to let the employer know when you will receive your diploma. When writing bullets for work or volunteer experience, focus on duties that highlight unique contributions and achievements. You want to do more than just explain the tasks you performed. You want to set yourself apart by showing what is special about your particular skill set. List college activities like clubs and offices, and any honors, such as awards or fellowships, to present your accomplishments and successes. Use strong, active verbs to describe experiences, but do not use I with these verbs because the reader knows the resume is about you. Instead say, performed duties of, then mention your job tasks. Use concise descriptions to highlight accomplishments. Wordiness can be worse than being brief because employers look over resumes very quickly. Finally, always be sure to spell out acronyms because the employer may not be familiar with the meaning of an acronym you use. An important note to keep in mind is to keep everything truthful. Be honest because employers reject candidates with inaccurate or embellished resumes. Plus, lying on a resume is unethical. To continue, let us think about how to write resume content that will catch an employer's attention. Using strong action words to begin your bullet points helps to demonstrate your experience and qualifications without being too repetitive. We have a few examples of strong verbs here. To explain your creative contributions, you can say conceptualized ideas or illustrated images. For data or analytical areas, you can say you assessed or evaluated information. If you are in management and want to display leadership skills, you can say you directed or initiated tasks. For a more comprehensive list of resume verbs, contact the Gaston College Writing Center or do a quick search, and you will find several resources to help you in the resume writing process. For those who are just entering the workforce and have minimal to no employment experience, or no experience in their desired field, including volunteer work on your resume is important. Including volunteer work on your resume shows that you are invested in the field in which you are applying for work. Try to include organizations that are relevant to the position for which you are applying, and mention your role in the organization. Also, be sure to mention the special events you volunteered at, like a blood drive for the Red Cross, as well as fundraiser and awareness events like breast cancer walks. Let's go over a few things you should remember about formatting and writing your resume. Choose common titles for headers, such as professional experience and education. Your headings, date formats, punctuation, and spacing should be consistent. For punctuation, just remember that if you choose to write fragments in your bulleted lists, consistently write fragments without periods at the end. And if you write complete sentences, punctuate them properly with periods. Also, exclamation points and question marks are inappropriate in resumes. Here, we have an example of a resume that follows all the suggestions in this basic resume tutorial. Please stop by the Gaston College Writing Center for a hard copy, or follow the link in the description of this video for a PDF file of this sample. Another resource for the public is Gaston College's Resume Builder. From the Gaston College homepage, click the Career Portal button in the upper right-hand corner of the page. Then, click the Resume Builder button and follow the prompts to use this tool to create a clean, professional resume. Before sending in your resume, always proofread and edit your work for spelling and grammar errors and to ensure the accuracy of your content. The Gaston College Writing Center is available to help students and recent Gaston College graduates with their resume needs. You may also contact us by calling 704-922-2369 or emailing us at writingcenter@gaston.edu to schedule your appointment today.